Good evening, Booze. I hope I'm not muted. Looks like I'm ready to roll. I hope you guys are all keeping warm tonight. It is snowing in Michigan, and what a time for us to get our first big dose of lake effect snow. Is on the eve of, how do I say it? The eve of November 10th. Uh, since we've been talking about the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald now for, God, it seems like for weeks because, oops, hang on, my camera. I'm trying to get comfortable in my chair. I adjusted it and I think now I'm way too tall. Like my mic is where it usually is, so I don't. There we go. Thank you, Angie. Every time I reach up to adjust this thing, no, I was muted. Every time I reach up to adjust, I hit that dang button every time. Um, but we caught it quick thanks to Angie, because otherwise I probably would have been like 20 minutes later, not knowing what the hell's going on. I said, "Hello, Mia," and I said, "Hello, Ernie," and I'm gonna say, "Hello, Angie." And, yeah, Mia, it's so crazy how the lake effect, like, all the way down to Indy, they got snow. Chicago got hit pretty rough, I guess, last night from the photos I'm seeing. I have a my cousin, her, boyfriend, is a storm chaser on YouTube. I should probably put his link somewhere for you guys to go follow him. He goes all over, but he is from the kind of I guess you'd call it we'll just call it the Chicago area. They're sort of north of Chicago though, but you get the general gist of it if I say the Chicago area. Hello, Ruby. Welcome. I hope everyone is staying warm wherever you are. Hopefully, it's a little warmer in other parts of the country, but it is. It's not that bad. It's not that bad up here. It is going to get worse. It just started to snow about an hour ago, rough about an hour ago. My kids screamed, "It's snowing!" So but it's not too terribly cold. Like I was outside just a little while ago. So, oh, Pat's dab is complete. Congratulations, Pat. Which she's dabbing, yeah. But yeah, it's South Bend got is like just they caught a lot of snow. It's so crazy to see someone other than like exactly where I live getting like completely dumped on. Usually those lake effect bands, like I mean literally, they sit right over the top of our like house and it just dumps and dumps all like, for a day or 2 on top of us, and, I mean, you will drive, like, outta here, right? You'll go to the east, and you'll drive just a few miles, and there'll be sunshine and absolutely no snow on the ground at all. Um Oh, Pat, are we see, because we're cousins, Pat. We have the same taste. We have a lot of, similar I think we have a lot of similar tastes, but yeah. These are my favorite glasses. I have, like, 20 pair, and I keep losing them, so I just keep buying the same ones over and over. just because these work and I like them. They've got the blue blocker on so that I can sit here and be on the screen and not get a headache. I still get a headache, but, uh, it's supposed to help me sleep at night, apparently. I still don't sleep at night. So, I don't know what the blue blocker crap is supposed to be doing, but it does have a slight magnification because of my astigmatism, so my screen doesn't get all wonky so that, I can actually see what you guys are saying. Because otherwise I'd just be sitting here, squinting. And, yeah, this is our little lighthouse in South Haven here in Michigan. It's, technically a pier head light, but, I mean, we call it a lighthouse still. She's out on the end of, a long pier, and there's a channel that goes down, between the 2. There's 2 piers. There's a north side and a south side. The lighthouse is on the south side, and there's a channel that is called the Black River Channel, and that, um there's, like, a marina and all kinds of stuff, but this is I mean, I grew up here. This is my favorite lighthouse, of all lighthouses. She's just a little one, but I love her. I mean, I say little, but she's still she's still big, bigger than I am, so that's pretty tall, and she's been there since I mean, they've had a lighthouse at the end of this since, trying to think, pre-Civil War. She's not that old, like, other ones were wooden, lights that they had on the end of the pier. The pier is actually longer than it used to be, but, this one is from, I think she 1902 or 1907. I can't re I I'm really bad with numbers. I will get 2s and 7s, mixed up, but that's about it's either 1902, 1907. I think she's built, so, um, she used to be white. She's now little red is what they call her. The this part our lighthouse is actually another lighthouse further up in Muskegon, Michigan, is the top part of that light, which is a much taller light, is actually, this same light, but just taller. So if you were to cut the top part of that one off and stick it on the end of our pier, it's the same light. So it's I think they were made at, like, the exact same time and everything. So but like I said, she's my favorite little light. This is I threw this up here. This is one of the photos I took. It's not that great of a photo because I took it with my phone and it was a really freaking windy day. This was a photo I took in November, and you can see how crazy the lake is. I mean, those are some incredible waves. I've got a few other ones. I should have probably loaded those so I could show you guys to show you how big the damn waves get. I mean, they go over the top of that light, like, completely, I mean, with room to spare, right? So and it's the gales of November, and guess what? It's happening now. We actually have what did they call some people were calling it the snow cane, oh, hi, Tiff. I'm sorry. I didn't see you pop in there. I think I did see you, but I'm, like, chattering away. I'm trying to keep on task. Um, I'm trying. I'm trying very hard, but, today, shockingly enough, here in Michigan, it wasn't too terribly windy or anything. I almost drove down to the lighthouse to see if there was anything going on. Because anytime the wind picks up, that is the time like, everybody drives down to the beach. This is called South Beach in South Haven. So everybody goes down there. You got photographers and amateur photographers, professionals, amateurs, all down there, trying to get photos. You still get a few idiots that try to walk out there, onto the pier during these storms. They're morons. They're gonna get washed over. People have gotten washed over. So you walk out there at your own risk, but I I've always been fascinated with lighthouses, the lake, and just all things, I guess, kinda nautical. So I don't know if it's just because I grew up here and, one of my great uncles worked on the lakes, he was a sailor, he actually I think he was more of a like a merchant marine, but it would have been before I don't know. I don't know when the I don't know anything about the merchant marines, but that's kinda sorta what he was because he did sail all around the world. We have my great-grandmother saved, like, the postcards that he would send home, and he had been to China, he'd been to Japan, Africa, like, he'd been to a lot of places around the world, which is so crazy to think. I think he was born in, like, 1880s. So, just to think that somebody born in that time period, was as well traveled as he was, but he did get to go a lot of places, and it was, and that was we always call him Great Uncle Bill. Uh, I probably should have thrown in a few photos of him too, because 'cause they're pretty cool. We've got some of him on, like, some ships, some of the ships that he was assigned to, and, yeah, he grew up here in South Haven too. That was, he was the first generation of that particular branch of my family, uh, and they've been in South Haven. We have been in South Haven since they came over. I think it was, yeah, like 1880. We'll leave it at that. We won't get too far into that stuff because 'cause I'll get so sidetracked, and you guys will learn more about my family history than you ever wanted to, but, um, suffice it to say, when you grow up on the Great Lakes, you're gonna be just, you're gonna be immersed in all the folklore, all the stories, the Edmund Fitzgerald, we learned that in school, and every November 10th, that's like I said before, the song is on the radio, you can't escape it, and I really wanna play the song. I'm not going to. I'm so terrified of getting copyright. I've had a couple copyright things, but because I'm not monetized, they're not strikes against my channel, but I don't know, I think Gordon Lightfoot's still alive. I don't really wanna piss him off. So, and even though um, we're covering Edmund Fitzgerald, I don't know how he feels about those sort of things. So I'm not gonna play it, but I did link it in the community, post, so if you guys wanna go listen to it, I highly recommend it if you haven't heard it before. It's very haunting. I think I've heard it about, I don't know, a gajillion times. Mia's probably, our Instagram feeds are oh, so maybe if he's gone, I can just play it. No, I'm not gonna take the chance. I did read that he was okay with people using it, like, in documentaries and such, but, um, this isn't a documentary. I'm not gonna go. Um, this is not a documentary, so I don't know how he would feel about that, but, gosh, that's sad. I didn't know he passed away. Oh. That's actually I think that's the only Gordon Lightfoot song I know. But yeah, it's a cool song. I can't help but get goosebumps. I mean, I've heard it a gajillion times. I still get goosebumps every time I hear it. Like I said, my Instagram feed is just and now my YouTube algorithm has totally been changed. I have so much stuff right now popping up with it's the 50th anniversary. Was that Time in a Bottle? No, that was Jim Croce did Time in a Bottle, right? I think, Tiff, if I'm not mistaken, because my mom had that 8 track when I was a kid. I'm gonna leave it at that. It's not Mia, it's not even your favorite Gordon Lightfoot song? Oh my okay. I'm not gonna put that you know what? I'm gonna put that comment up here so you're so embarrassed. No, I'm not. I'm just kidding. But, oh, actually, wait, I do know one other Gordon Lightfoot song. Is it Sundown? I think my mom used to play that, like, on loop. She must have had an album. She must have had the record or something because I kinda remember that song, and it seems like it was Gordon Lightfoot, um but I've watched so many stories in the last couple days on YouTube and TikTok with all I wanted to get all this information for you guys. I went to bat for you. and I got all this great, awesome information for you. So, yeah, Tiff, that's it. You better take care. That's it. Sundown, right? Yeah, that's a pretty good. I can't remember exactly all of it, but I sort of kinda hear it in my head, but the record that Edmund Fitzgerald has completely taken over my brainwaves. That's all I hear. That's all I've been humming. Um, I'm hoping after tomorrow, it's gonna slowly go away. I have to find some other song to get into my brain, but yeah, it's definitely kinda one of those earworms, I think. If you hear it I am gonna read I said I was gonna do a dramatic reading, I'm just gonna read the lyrics and try not to sing them because no one wants to hear that. I'm trying to build a channel, not destroy it, so I'm not gonna sing it tonight. Um, but I did wanna let you guys know that tomorrow night at I think it's 6 o'clock or 6:30, they're gonna start live streaming from Whitefish Point, which is the lighthouse. Um, Hi, Tish. Welcome. And they're going to stream the big 50th special, the Edmund Fitzgerald. They're going to do a live stream. They're going to have a ceremony and some of the family members because the Edmund Fitzgerald sank in 1975. So there are living family members, sons and daughters. I don't know how many of the widows are still alive, but there may still be a few, especially if there were the younger men on board. I would think there may still be some of the widows alive too, but there's definitely still family members of the men who went down, the 29 men who went down with her. So they're going to be there. There's going to be a private ceremony. And I'm sure this is with purpose that it's going to be at 7 o'clock. The private ceremony starts since the ship did sink on November 10th. Her lights were last seen. Well, she slipped from the radar at about 7:10 which was about the time of her last communication. So that was about the time she disappeared. So I think that's probably why they're doing the ceremony that late at night. So it makes sense that they would do that. And then, especially if they're just going to do the private ceremony for the family. Um, it's very, I don't know, I got a little emotional thinking about that when I saw that that's what they were gonna do tomorrow night. So, I think I am gonna hop on just to do a little bit of the live stream as long as it's not illegal. I'm gonna double check and make sure that I can do that, because I don't wanna ruin it like with this, the Morphew trial and hearings, I don't wanna ruin it for other people, so I'm just gonna double check that I can, stream that. It says that media can. I'm just gonna say I'm media, but I don't think I can, but I'm just gonna double check. I'm gonna try to stream it tomorrow night. If I don't show up tomorrow night, it means I that means I can't stream it, but I'm gonna try because I think it would be kinda neat to watch. They're getting hammered up there right now. They had their first winter storm advisory up in the Upper Peninsula last night. They were supposed to get a whole lot of snow, which it's so freaky that this is all happening, right? Like, right on the 50th anniversary. It's almost sort of like history repeating itself, which is I don't know, goosebumps, y'all. It's spooky how, right, what's the Ernie, what Ernie was always saying, I think it was Ernie was always saying time is a flat circle, or was that Mitty that was always saying that? But yeah, that it just seems really, I guess there should be a huge storm for the 50th anniversary of her sinking. So, yeah, deja vu. Yeah, Angie. That's good too. I like it. Deja vu. But creepy. Very creepy that it's But I like creepy. You guys are here. I think you like creepy too. Did I see somebody else pop in that I didn't say hi to? Did I see Clips pop in? I think I did. Hi Clips, if I missed you. I think I saw you up there. Oh, Ernie says it was MIDI. And AJ with the Matthew, yeah, time is a flat circle. Which I'm kind of feeling like, the gales of November, I guess they're coming early this year since it's only the 9th tonight. And well, it was the 8th yesterday, and South Bend got hammered. So, but Notre Dame, I don't, yeah, that's fine. Go green, go white. I'm an MSU fan, not a Notre Dame fan. Not many of us in Michigan are Notre Dame fans. So, but I do have my list. I sort of um I sort of have a script because I wanted to tell these a couple of these stories as the best that I can because I got goosebumps with a couple of these. I was telling Pat earlier that one of these is like one of these just is I had read bits of it before, but it's so good. I didn't know the whole story, and then I found the graves online. So we're gonna take it full circle, not a flat circle. We're just gonna take it full circle. We're gonna go from a watery grave to a grave on land. So we're gonna just do what the channel's supposed to do. We're gonna talk about some graves, but and I'm gonna finish up. Okay, let's do the Edmund Fitzgerald first. Let's finish up. I'm gonna put on in the background while I uh-oh. I'm gonna read the if I could read my own handwriting, I need to just start typing these things out. But I'm gonna read the lyrics from the song. I'm gonna try not to sing them. Um, and then I downloaded a video. I'm hoping that I do not get in trouble for this. It says that I can play this, download and play it for you guys. I'm gonna pop it up here. There's no there's no sound to it, but this is underwater video that the Great Lakes Ship Museum has put on their website so that you can here I'm just gonna take the chat off the screen just for so we can watch this. But I'm gonna read the lyrics if I can find where I put them. Hopefully you guys can hear. I'm not muted, right? Yep, okay. All right. And eventually I'm gonna find where I put the all right. Guys, don't make fun. I'm just gonna read the words. I'm not gonna get too crazy dramatic or, or anything. So this is The Wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald by Gordon Lightfoot. And uh this was published 1976. So this was about 2 years after the ship went down. And it goes, the legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Gitchagumi. The lake, it is said, never gives up her dead when the skies of November turn gloomy. With a load of iron ore, 26,000 tons more than the Edmund Fitzgerald weighed empty. The good ship and crew was a bone to be chewed when the gales of November came early. The ship was the pride of the American side coming back from some mill in Wisconsin. As the big freighters go, it was bigger than most, with a crew and good captain well seasoned. Concluding some terms with a couple of steel firms when they left fully loaded from Cleveland. And later that night, when the ship's bell rang, could it be the north wind been feeling? The wind in the wires made a tattletale sound, and a wave broke over the railing. And every man knew, as the captain did too, 'twas the witch of November come stealing. The dawn came late, and the breakfast had to wait, when the gales of November came slashing. When afternoon came, it was freezing rain in the face of a hurricane west wind. When supper time came, the old cook came on deck saying, fellas, it's too rough to feed ya. At 7 p.m., A main hatchway caved in. He said, "Fellas, it's been good to know ya." The captain wired in he had water coming in, and the good ship and crew was in peril. And later that night, when his lights went out of sight, came the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours? The searchers all say they'd have made Whitefish Bay if they'd put 15 more miles behind her. They might have split up or they might have capsized. They may have broke deep and took water. And all that remains is the faces and names of the wives and the sons and the daughters. Lake Huron rolls, Superior sings in the rooms of her ice water mansion. Old Michigan steams like a young man's dreams. The islands and bays are for sportsmen. And farther below, Lake Ontario takes in what Lake Erie can send her. And the iron boats go, as the mariners all know, with the gales of November remembered. In a musty old hall in Detroit, they prayed in the Maritime Sailors' Cathedral. The church bell chimed till it rang 29 times for each man on the Edmund Fitzgerald. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down of the big lake they call Gitchagumi. Superior, they said, never gives up her dead when the gales of November come early. How'd I do, guys? Woo! It was so hard not to sing that. I gotta get a drink. I think my favorite part, get your gumi, Ernie. I think my favorite part that I it never fails to kinda catch me up is, when the lyrics, "Does anyone know where the love of God goes when the waves turn the minutes to hours?" Like, every single time I hear that, I just get caught. It catches me. I don't know what it is, but it's really I think it's powerful. Um, and Pat says, "Funny, Chippewa Falls was where Jack was from in Titanic." Coincidence? I think not, Pat, and I agree with Mia. I don't think it was, so the Edmund Fitzgerald is the last major shipwreck that has happened on the Great Lakes. That was 1975. She is the last one to have gone down. Uh, of course, little boats have been lost, but we're talking, like, the big ships. So they've made things a lot safer, thank goodness. I'm sure there are a lot more there's technology. It seems when it comes I it's I don't know if it's because of the song or what it is that has made this ship such a legend, but I think it's a well-deserved legend. This is She was at the time, this ship was the one that all the sailors wanted to be on. This was like this was it, right? Like when you were on this ship, you knew, um, like you were good. You were one of the best sailors if you got picked to be on this. So it's and the fact that um, probably still too, especially 1975, to lose all 29 on board. Every man went down with it. Those are recent times. So I think that's probably another reason it still sticks in people's minds because they probably think that this could have been completely avoidable, or at least that the men could have been saved. But unfortunately, it wasn't. And yeah, Pat, I said that the last time it just seemed like for lack of a better phrase, a perfect storm. They sailed out, leaving Wisconsin. Things started to get bad, but here they had a captain who this was his final year. He was getting ready to retire. Uh, if you think about it, it's a little when you think about the Titanic, since we've brought that up, we've mentioned it. Well, you guys have mentioned it in the chat. So very similar, right? We have a captain who's, I mean, he's well seasoned, like the song says, and the crew is as well. These guys have been through these storms. They're right, like this is nothing for them. And but they didn't anticipate it getting quite as bad. But they had already known prior to this storm that the Edmund Fitzgerald had already she had some damage to her already, but the captain was like, "It's nothing major. It's not anything that's going to," like, "We've only got a few more weeks to the season ends." And this was their last, like I said, this was their last run. Um, but the storm popped up, hit them just right, and they were loaded down. And she, given the fact that she was so heavy, had all of that not coal, iron ore in her. She wouldn't have been able to probably get, uh, to shelter. If she woulda got to Whitefish Point Bay to the bay, she would have been fine. There were other big freighters that were out there at the time on the lake that survived it, bigger ships, smaller ships that survived it and didn't have any problems because they were able to get to, they were either behind the storm or in front of the storm, but unfortunately, the Fitzgerald was right in the middle of it, and it just so happened what they think happened, right, was that just 2 waves came up, one on the bow, one on the stern, and it kinda just pushed up, and with all of that heavy iron ore in the middle, she was already taking on water, even with the pumps going, wasn't there was just too much water coming in, and the pumps couldn't work well enough to get fast enough to get the water out. So she was taking on water, she was already you know, full of iron ore, heavy. It was just boom, right? Because she did go down in 2 pieces. Um, the the bow of the ship stayed upright on the ocean floor. So again, also another similarity to the Titanic, right? She's in 2 pieces on the bottom of Lake Superior. She's about 17 nautical miles out from Whitefish Point, and that's her final resting place. She's considered a mass underwater grave. All 29 men are still considered to be inside her or essentially in the vicinity. One man, unidentified, was actually seen outside of the ship. At one point, I think that was like, I want to say it was like in the 90s when they first, I think maybe when they went down to get the bell. So I think that was 1994 when they went down to retrieve the bell. And otherwise, they've left everything as is, which is actually kind of, I have to hand it to the Canadian government for that one. They're making sure people don't get down there because, like I said, it is, um, a sign of respect that, you know, this is these men's, here, hang on, can I a watery grave. So, um yeah, so there's no diving, nothing can be removed, and like I said, it seems like people respect this, which is, I don't know if it's because of the legend of the ship that it does hold such, you know, it's just drenched in mystique, right? Everyone knows about it. I think a lot of people are gonna, oddly enough, even, people that are going down and diving on things to get to get objects, to get money, right? They seem to all be respecting, at least the Edmund Fitzgerald. I don't know how they do it with other ships. I do know some of the other shipwrecks that they have found, especially in Lake Michigan. It's pretty much open. It's open season. Like people can dive down there. I know people who've dived down and like brought up little bits, right? Like they'll rip a piece off of like the wood, the hull. It's ridiculous. It's just like, even if like there are shipwrecks that people they everybody got off of the ship, right? And like nobody died, everybody got off. And those are all through the Great Lakes. I think there's like 6,000 ships that have gone down in the Great Lakes collectively since um and I don't know if that's it didn't say if that was like just big ships, like the big ships, or if they're counting little like the little ships because I know little boats, um, they're always getting lost out. Like there's a guy right now that they've been looking for like 2, 3 months that went out from, I forget where in Wisconsin, but they've been looking for him now for since like August, I think. And oh, I don't know. He hasn't showed back up. So I think that 6,000 probably is big, like, ships, not just, like, little boats, but, uh, and I think it was 6,000 ships. I gotta find this because this is what's really kinda freaked me out because if you think about it, um, the Great Lakes are it's just one big cemetery. They're just one big cemetery because 30,000 people have died due to shipwrecks and to boats sinking out on the Great Lakes. And again, I'm not sure if that's all the boats. Like I'm not sure where they got the data, but that's from the Great Lakes um shipwreck museum up north. So I'm thinking they probably have pretty good numbers. Like I'm not going to go check that. I think they're probably legit. I hope. um But I thought that was kinda crazy because so if you think about it, like, Lake Michigan alone is just one big cemetery. There's just a whole lot of whether they've been recovered or not, I mean, there's still a lot of bodies that were never recovered, um, down below there. So, I mean, Superior alone, like I said, they never recovered anybody from the Edmund Fitzgerald. The families wanted even though they knew almost within, like, just, like, a few days, I think it was the Navy had their aerial, sonar that went over, and they did pick up, sonar imaging, so they always knew where she was down at the bottom of Lake Superior. They knew where she was located. They couldn't since right, it's November, big storm came in, they're not gonna be able to get down to her at all. Um, it wasn't until spring that they were actually able to dive down and kinda check out the wreckage, but again, I don't even think now that they're entirely for sure why the reasoning behind why she went down, like, that's kinda one theory, like I said, with the 2 waves, one on the bow, one on the stern. That's the one I like the best because it makes the most sense to me, like, I can see that. I mean, if you look at her, um where are my photos here? Hang on, let me pop this up here. This is the great I'm gonna pop back here because I gotta find there she is. But if you look, these freighters are very awkward to me. Like, you've got a lot of weight on each end, and then you got all that cargo space, right? Like, I could see how that can get snapped up and like a twist, boop. So yeah, it doesn't take a lot for me to, um, kinda come to that conclusion that that's probably a more likely thing, but then you've also, we were talking about the perfect storm. You got a captain who knows what he's doing, you got a crew that has been there, done that, right? They're probably maybe a little too confident, but you had, this freighter that needed some repairs, and she didn't get them because, "Hey, this is the last run of the year. We'll fix it when we get to port, and then she'll be ready to go for next year," right? But they never made it to port. Obviously, there wouldn't be any repairing her, so it just seems like there was a multitude of issues, that just kinda sort of like we said earlier, like with the Titanic, just a lot of things that probably like one thing maybe if it was different could have changed the whole outcome, but who knows? So, with that, I'm gonna see, what else did I have? I think there was did I promise you guys something? I read the gotta go back here. I read this I did my dramatic reading. I showed you the video. Oh, and then it's the Reddit ghost story. This one is so freaking cool. I hope you guys here. I gotta get. I'm gonna drown myself. This is. Oh, here I can. This is off of Reddit. I think I'm gonna choke a little bit more. Think I got it. Um, while I let me get my poppin' Angie's comment up here. If you've ever been on a boat in a storm, it happens quickly and is terrifying. I've never been out on the lake during a storm. I've right at the tail end, like right as it's blowing in, like I've on my like we've been on a boat, like a little boat, getting off of the lake just as the turbulence and the waves really start, like, when a storm's coming in, and I've t it is the most, um it is one of the things that I get the most excited about is when there's a storm coming in over over the lake, because it can change within minutes. Like, we can watch, like, on the radar, we can watch stuff coming down from the north, from Canada, we can watch things coming from the west, right, coming across from, like, Iowa, coming over Illinois. Once they hit Lake Michigan, we don't know what's gonna happen. They can either build and get really big, like, just even bigger than they were. So you think of all the tornadoes and destruction that some of the big, especially the summer storms, leave behind, and then they hit the lake. Those they can either completely fizzle out once they hit Lake Michigan, or they're 100 times worse and will actually get tornadoes. We don't get a whole lot of them because we're not Tornado Alley way up here. But we'll get them, and they do a lot of damage. So, but when we know that the big storms are rolling in, like I said, people will go down to the beach, go to the lighthouse. It doesn't matter. You get out, everybody goes. It's just a thing, and the scent in the air, and the waves start coming in. You get that splash, the waves in your face. It's just it's just beautiful. um, I recommend everybody come. I'm gonna see if I can get, Pure Michigan to sponsor me, but, um, I just saw Pat said I have seen water spouts out on Lake Michigan, and they're freaking terrifying. Um, they're so cool, but absolutely terrifying because I don't know if they go from the water to shore. Like, I've never seen that, I've never heard, but that's what I would be thinking in my head if I when I see, right? Like, that would be freaking me out, but, um, it's just the coolest experience. If you ever get to experience, like, a summer storm coming off of the lake, come to it's so cool. I don't maybe it's a little like a I don't know, how does it work? You guys over, like, on the ocean, like, on the coast, you have to tell me what it's like. Is it similar? Do, like, the storms come in off of the ocean, or do they come over land and hit you guys? I like in Michigan, everything comes across Lake Michigan typically. Like we'll get once in a while, we'll get some stuff that comes up from the south, or we'll get some that blows in from the north. But um, most of our weather comes west across the lakes. So I just so to get that storm that actually comes over the water at you, it's just really cool. Um, so if you like those kind of things like I do, like if you're a fellow weirdo, that likes those kind of storms and things, I highly, especially when the lightning gets going. Oh my god, guys, it is so cool. But the winter storms are amazing. I know Pat probably knows what I'm about to talk about because when the winter storms kick in before the lake, if the lake freezes, it doesn't necessarily always freeze. We get the big waves that come in and hit that little red lighthouse, right? Here I'm gonna pop off the oops, I'm gonna make myself smaller. Pop over here. Ugh, I can never get myself where I want to be on the screen here. Maybe if I go over, nope. I wanted to show you guys the lighthouse. There we go. That's the one I want. Um, if you look at the lighthouse, so when the big waves come in, hit this will totally be encased in ice. Like it's so pretty when the ice, I mean, it just looks like there's this crystal case around the lighthouse. It's so beautiful. I have never been able to get that perfect photo. I have some with like half of the lighthouse encased in the ice, but not the whole. I haven't got a photo yet of the whole thing. Like that is something that a lot of the photographers out here is one of the things you live for, to go out there and to get that photo of the lighthouse and the pier. But it's spectacular. It really is, especially if you get out there. Like it'll last sometimes a few days, especially when it's super freaking cold. It did this last winter, but I wasn't able to get down to the beach. I can't remember what something was going on. But yeah, the photos that I saw, it just looked like somebody just put this thick glistening coat of like glass, like crystal over, just set it down over the top of the lighthouse. It looks so pretty. And it's even cooler when you see the railing that goes this is like a gangway up on top so that they could get coal and oil out to the lighthouse. There's like a little door up on top at the end of that so that the lightkeeper could that's where he would take up the oil and such for the lamp. And then there's of course the door on the bottom of it, but the lightkeeper wouldn't have lived in here. He might have had to stay in there if there were bad storms coming up, but um, especially we had a one-legged lighthouse keeper, which we'll talk about him because he's a ghost story too. Um, but we'll talk about him. We'll do him maybe soon because that's Mr. Donahue. He's very cool. Oh, I forgot Mia because I was gonna pop this up. Um, Mia is going to be in Detroit, and or maybe are you already there? Well, like no, I'm not gonna. Don't tell us. I don't want anybody coming for you. So, but she is going to be near the Maritime Mariners Cathedral tomorrow, which they're having their big 50th uh, Edmund Fitzgerald ceremony tomorrow, and she's gonna walk over and she's gonna try to get it for us. So, um, that is gonna be cool. And this is the Mariners Cathedral is where when um the I'm not sure, it's an Anglican church. I don't think they have priest, but they have, like, the pastor or reverend. He went and when they talk about the church bells ringing in the song 29 times, when the, pastor heard that the Edmund Fitzgerald was missing, he knew apparently that the ship was lost, and he went to he rang the church bell for the 29 men that were on the ship. He rang it 29 times. Now, typically, um, I've seen this at other ceremonies, but the ones I've watched, the Edmund Fitzgerald, they will ring the bell 29 times for each man, but at the end, they ring it one more time, and that is for everyone who has lost their life on the Great Lakes. So it's just one ring for everybody. So it'll be 30 rings. I'm not sure if that's how they're gonna do it tomorrow. I'm sure up at Whitefish Point, it's just gonna be the 29 since that's the closest point to where the men lost their lives. And, but in Detroit, they might actually do the 29, rings plus the 1. I think that's a coast I wanna say it's a Coast Guard tradition. I think I read that. I could probably look that up real quick, but, then everything would break. So, and what was this? So we can at least look forward to that. I actually thought about driving over to Detroit and going myself, but with the lake effect, I don't know. I don't know. I might drop the little drummer boy off at school tomorrow and just like go because I think it would be really. I think it's at Mia. I think it starts at 2 o'clock. And yes, no, something like that. But they ring it for Gordon in 2020. Gordon? Like Jeff Gordon? No, it's got to be somebody different. Gordon. Um, at the if I oh you I might, Mia, I might. It wouldn't take a whole lot to twist my arm unless the roads are really. Oh, Gordon, Lightfoot. Oh, really? Oh, I sh I should find video on that. Um, if I can live stream tomorrow night, if I can live stream the ceremony from Whitefish Point, I'm gonna see if they have that. I wanted to try to find see, I think they're gonna do the ceremony, I think they're gonna ring the bell tomorrow night, so I want us to listen to that, well, I wanna listen to that, I'm gonna bring you guys along with me if you wanna come. So, I'm probably gonna be freaking crying. So, I'm gonna make y'all cry with me 'cause I don't know. Like, I was, shoot, probably gonna end up just talking about the Edmund Fitzgerald, for the whole stream, but no, I'm gonna at least give you one good ghost story if I start running out of time. But, yeah, with the I watched, I think did I post it? I'll post if I haven't posted it already in the Discord, I will post it I'll double check. I think I might have posted it already, but it was, our local Detroit, station. They posted like a little I think it's about 11 or 12 minutes. It's a real quick watch. But one of the daughter, the only daughter of the Edmund Fitzgerald's cook, she is still alive. She's very much older lady. She was, pregnant with her first child when the ship went down, and her mother had she was telling the story of how she was living in Kansas at the time, and her mother had called her and told her that the ship went down, and the daughter was like, I knew right away that my dad was gone." And just to see that emotion 50 years after the fact, that it's just like she lost her dad yesterday. And, um, it broke my heart. I That's why I said, we have to be very respectful of the shipwreck because they do have a lot of the other ones we'll talk about. There's no one left alive anymore that knew any of them. No family, no one that knew them is still going to probably be around. If otherwise, they'd be really freaking old. But with the Edmund Fitzgerald, at least there are still family. So we'll be very respectful of that. And um probably this way also we'll be a little bit more serious tonight than we typically are, just because of that. Um, After we finish with Edmund, then we can get a little crazier on the other ones. I I don't mind, but we'll keep it a little more serious for the Edmund Fitzgerald. But okay, I found a Reddit ghost story, and I couldn't believe that I found one like on the Edmund Fitzgerald. So okay, I did this last time and I almost choked, but I do have to drink. Um, and let's see. So you were just Angie, you were just a itty bitty little baby then when the ship went down. All right, let me get my Reddit story. I'm not gonna pop it up here. I'm just gonna read it. So I'm not gonna see your guy. I'm not gonna see the chat for a couple minutes because I'm not gonna put it. I'm gonna read it from over here, and I won't see the chat. So give me a minute and I'll come back to any comments that you guys have. But this one is from the Reddit subreddit Ghost Stories, which is where I get a lot of my stuff from that I like to scare you guys with. But this one is called A Nautical Ghost Story from My Sailor Uncle. I was just talking to my uncle, who is a retired sailor, and he told me a story that I felt was perfect for this subreddit. My uncle used to work on board the Great Lakes freighter, the SS Arthur M. Anderson, and they would haul iron ore and limestone across the Great Lakes. One day at around 7 p.m. in November 2007, they were crossing Lake Superior on their way to Cleveland, Ohio, when they started receiving distress calls on their radio from an unknown vessel claiming to be the SS Edmund Fitzgerald. The Edmund Fitzgerald, which famously sank in 1975, taking all 29 crewmen with it. While he said at first they all thought it was some kind of distasteful prank until they checked their radar and found that there were no ships around for at least 70 nautical miles, and the range on the radios are only about 60 nautical miles. He said that the voice they heard from the radio described a heavy storm and high winds, and that they were having a hard time holding their own. My uncle said you could hear true fear in the man's voice from over the radio, but the thing was, there was no storm at all. In fact, the weather was calm and the night was clear. At around 8 p.m., my uncle described the distress signals on the radio came to an abrupt halt, leaving the whole room in terrifying silence. And the radio stayed quiet for the rest of the night. Nobody was able to sleep that night, haunted by what they had witnessed. When it comes down to it, there is a sense of irony in this event, being as not only is the ship my uncle was on, the Arthur M. Anderson, the sister ship to Edmund Fitzgerald, but it was also the last ship to make contact with Edmund Fitzgerald in 1975 when she sank. Could my uncle and his shipmates have actually made contact with the ghosts of the crew of the Edmund Fitzgerald, or could there be another explanation for this event? We'll never know, but it made one of the creepiest stories I've ever heard. And that is one of the creepiest stories I think I've ever heard. Is that was it. What do you guys think of that? I love those oh, hello, C Smith. Welcome. Um what was the movie? Trying to think of the name. I think it was called Frequency. And I want to say it was like Dennis Quaid, maybe. And where he's talking to his dad via shortwave radio or something, and his dad's been dead for like a long time, but he somehow like, right? Like, they get, they somehow connect, the wires connect from the future to the past, right? Um, I I wonder because, like, um, kind of what is your theory on time? I'm like, this is starting to get deep. Um, what is your theory on time? Like, are we living alternate realities? Did this were they getting um, a signal from back in time, or is this another dimension or something? But I totally sailors are people I like to believe that aren't liars. Um, Usually pilots, unless it's about cheating on their spouses. But otherwise, I believe pilots. Like if a pilot said that they saw like a alien spaceship, I'm gonna believe them probably a little more than I believe my neighbor if he told me he saw a spaceship. Um, I believe sailors. They're kind of up there. Like I don't think they're gonna make stuff up like that. They're pretty superstitious. I could see maybe like 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 how like instead of seeing they see a a big water moccasin and then they think they see the Loch Ness monster. I could see how, that's a little different. They did see something, but I do tend to believe them. They're in that group of people. Um, I tend to believe firefighters and police officers too, for the most part. But that's starting to decrease a little bit. Not as much as I want to still. Uh, but yeah, but sailors, I'm 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 more likely to believe them. And lighthouse keepers, they're up there. So these when I hear these stories from this man, um, uh, I tend to believe this one. And some of the story let's see what some of the comments one person said it sounds like it's a residual haunting, which is something that I I could see that. I could see a residual haunting. Especially I would like to know exactly what night it was on that this happened. Um, he just says it was a random night in November, right? Um, and a couple other people say residual haunting. Um, and yeah, I think that's about it. One guy says my dad worked lake boats and he said freaky things happen out there. And another one, sea, oceans, and lakes are a strange place. There's a reason Gordon Lightfoot said, the lake, it is said, never gives up her dead. That guy's a good he's good at it. Yeah, Steve Smith, except Proctor, right? So like I said, I have an uncle who was a Michigan State police officer. So I've always had a pretty healthy respect for the police. And I believed them until recent years when I see, um honestly, I think since watching the movie The Departed, I think that started putting into my head that maybe not all police officers are like my uncle. That maybe some of them are like dirty little boogers, but I still like to think that the majority of them are good, and I'm sure just like I say, I trust sailors, like, if they say they saw something or heard something, I'm gonna believe them, but, I'm sure there's some dirty dogs out there too that are sailors, so, there are still yeah, there's still sailors, right? Yeah, yeah. Like those the pirates, Somalian pirates, they're sailors, right? Um, and that's it. That's, so we can be a little more silly now. I've finished with everything I have on Edmund Fitzgerald. Let me add this back to the stage here real quick, and we'll just gonna wave to the guys because we're gonna finish. But we'll be back tomorrow because we'll see what we can do if I can show if I can show the live stream of the ceremony because I think that'd be pretty sweet. And see, this is what here. I'm gonna pop off the Bannock burn for a second. This is right? Uh, not that one. This one right here. They say everything is happening at the same time. So I is that like right? It's altered alternate dimension theory, right? Like it all these different like I would really wanted to go into teaching at one point, and I think I would just really confuse all my students if I ever had to teach about, like, alternate realities and stuff because, yeah, unless I had a big I could probably I need a chalkboard wall behind me, and then I could just start, uh oh, that's actually a really freaking good idea. I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna get a big dry erase board so I can start drawing, um doing drawings for you guys. Um, yep, like the different timelines. So that's how it feels to me like when I hear stuff like that about like that story. That I believe the guy. And it's really cool. One thing I don't like if it is like residual. I never like the idea of thinking that like these poor spirits are trapped um, somewhere. So, if it's residual, then it's just like, sort of like a memory that's stamped and left there forever that just kinda repeats on a loop, right? So, it's not an intelligent haunting, which would be like an actual entity that, um, knows it's an entity, knows that it's dead, is trying to communicate, on some sort of and you know, on some sort of level. But, that would probably make me really sad if I thought that they were all still stuck here, but, hopefully they've crossed over. Okay, let's leave the serious behind, and another drink of water. Mm. Sorry, Diet Coke. Forgot because I have to try to stay awake. So, is this the Bannockburn? So this is so okay, so we can be silly now because 'cause we've done the respectful portion of tonight's episode. So we can be silly. So you guys, because like this is the SS Bannockburn, which is probably one of my favorite, ship names ever. This is the coolest name because it's Bannockburn, like Scotland, and of course, um, I'm mostly Scottish, and I love this stuff. And she's an old lady. Gotta find her. I gotta find where I wrote all her stuff down here. Hang on. So this lady, Miss SS Bannockburn, she disappeared in 1902. She was on her, let's see, she's another ship, just like the Edmund Fitzgerald. She's another one that went missing. Um, on Lake Superior. She was a Canadian freighter, and let's see, she is called the Flying Dutchman of the Great Lakes. Her remains have her wreckage has never been found, and she is the phantom ship that is supposedly seen all across Lake Superior. Typically, when she is seen, it is supposed to herald, something bad about to happen. I'm very curious if anyone had spotted her before the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald, but I didn't. I looked to see, like, where they got, like, where they got this for the lore, right, that she's spotted just before like, prophecy, right? Um Where they picked this up, like, what happened when people after what major events happened after people had seen her, and I couldn't find any, so, I don't know about that, but that is her reputation. If you see her, it's supposed to mean, um, it's a bad omen. So if you see her, maybe take shelter, get the hell off the lake because something bad's coming. And yes, she is still often seen sailing between Port Austin and the Sioux Locks. Now, Port Austin is actually the thumb of Michigan. So if you think like Detroit's over here, right? This is the thumb, right? The little mitten. Port Austin is like at the over here. So this is Lake Huron actually. And so I was a little confused because they kept saying she sank in Lake Superior, and the Sioux Locks separate Lake Huron from um, Lake Superior. So they must see her. That was her final voyage, was going from Port Austin up through the Sioux Locks up. I'm not sure where she was. I know she was heading to Canada. I'm just not sure which her exact location, but um, as you can see, she actually did have sails, and I have a photo of her, of the ghost image that is supposed to be her. Now, this popped up. Someone spotted this off of the Upper Peninsula. I hope you guys can see the hair. Let me, um, I'm gonna full screen it, and I think you guys should still be able to hear me. If you can't, if you can hear me, just put a thumbs up. Oops, here, let me. Oh, C. Smith, I'm sorry. I just read that today. I'm sorry. Okay, big hugs for you and your mama. And it never gets easy, right? It's just, yeah. I've got a candle. I've already got a candle burning, and we'll say a little. I'll say a little something for your mama tonight before I blow it out. Um, or actually, I'll leave it burning for a while. Um, all right. So this is a photo. Hopefully, you guys can all see it. Hopefully, you can all see me or hear me. This is supposed to be the um of the Bannockburn. It's supposed to be like if she's coming at us, like sailing right towards us, right? Uh that you're supposed to be able to see her mast, and like her sails are open. So this is supposed to be a sighting of her, and they she always comes in through the mist, and then she disappears into the mist, right? Cuz that's, well, she has to, cuz that's spooky. But uh some say that this is part of a phenomenon. I want I want to believe that this is a ghost ship, but we have this little thing out. Why did I not write that down? All right, hang on. I have to find, there is this phenomenon, unless somebody in the chat knows what it is, so then I don't have to keep let's see, keep looking for it. Here, I'll just look it up. Um this happens, let's see. All right. All right, I found it. So, the scientific explanation of this image is called a phenomenon that's called, where's the stupid name? It's superior mirage. Well, there is a different name for it, but this occurs when warm air sits over colder air, and it acts like a lens to bend light. So, this frequently happens, and I've seen this. Um, so Chicago is roughly right across the lake from, well, from where I saw it. At the time I saw Chicago, it was upside, it wasn't upside down. Yeah, it was upside down in the lake, in Lake Michigan. I was a kid, we were at the beach swimming, and we were all lined up looking at this, and it looked like the skyline of Chicago, but it was reversed. We can't see Chicago even on a good clear day. It's too far across the lake. So the fact that we saw anything that looked like, Chicago, and it was, I've seen the photos of that day, like, that they had captured that image, um, and it's just like I remember, or either that or just my memory is see, Smith, it's like a mirror reflection, so it's like the lens bends the light and just reverses it, so however it's gotta be, like, just perfect conditions to do this. It doesn't happen a lot, like, I think it's more when it's probably gonna be a summertime occurrence since it'll be those days, like, it's hot and humid on the surface, and then we'll get a cold front or something that'll come through, but I remember, like, just seeing like, all along the lakeshore, we would look here, let me, um pop myself back up here because 'cause I'm using my hands to show you guys stuff, and you can't see, but I just remember, like, looking at the lakeshore and you could see, like, the horizon over Lake Michigan, and you could see and it just looked like this classic Chicago skyline, and it was just inverted. It was the coolest thing, and it just kinda stretched out. I should have found some photos of that for you guys too, but, see, I'm learning. I start making notes, like, so I can, um I don't know, the reflection here that they're calling the ghost ship Bannockburn, uh, this is not calm waters, this is pretty choppy, but this is on Lake Superior, and this is actually not too terribly far. If I remember correctly, this is from the Upper Peninsula, and it's not too far from Whitefish Point, if I remember correctly. Um, so it would be in the general vicinity of where, the Edmund Fitzgerald, sank. So but Lake Superior usually is pretty choppy. Uh, I I've never seen it, like, smooth and, calm. I've just always there's always some kind of waves going out there. Lake Michigan is probably a little bit more calm, but, um, still it doesn't take very long for it to change. Like, I mean, we're talking 5-10 minutes. If you guys go look, I think I posted a short where I showed, like, a storm front coming in. We were right down at I was just down at the beach. Like I said, we all go down there when the crazy storms come in. Um, and you could see the big shelf cloud that was just coming over, and it was just like one minute it was beautiful and, like, almost 80 degrees outside, and then, like, one little gust of air, and then another one, and then it got real chilly, and then, like, hail started flying, so it's really crazy how it changes out on the lake that fast. Same for Lake Superior, it gets kinda crazy up there too, but so they think that this might be a reflection, sort of, like I said, when we can see Chicago, from the Lake Michigan from the Michigan shoreline, uh this is what they think is probably actually I think it's supposed to be a lighthouse, a reflection of, like, a lighthouse that's on the other side of the lake that they typically you can't see either, sorta like we can't see Chicago, but then you'll get this inverted image, so they think this might be the lighthouse, which, unfortunately, when I look at that, now all I can see is a lighthouse, but if it's inverted, then I don't see, a lighthouse, so, I don't know. I will let you guys, be the judge of it. I'll throw the photo in the Discord, and then I'll also throw it in the community, section too, so you guys can Um, pardon me. I have to keep cutting my really long straws down because my cat Benny, he likes to chew them off. So I have to keep so I buy really long straws so I can just um okay. Did you ever play what is it? See what Ernie. Did you ever play BioShock Infinity? Would love that game. What? Ooh. I don't think so. I've never heard of it, Ernie. So, you see, Smith, that is yeah, Ernie, please explain what it is to me. But if it means I get shocked, like an electrical I'm not gonna play. I don't like to get shocked. um, oops, I had it. Hang on. See, Smith, that's what I thought too. But as far as I know, Lake Superior up around Lake Superior, there's no NASA launch pads, but that's what right? Like, I see, like, a missile a missile. Well, actually, it could be a missile. I'm sure there's those up there. Well, no, wait, are we looking towards uh, I don't I'll find some more information, but maybe that'll be another mystery we cover at some point. I'll show you, but I'll put this photo in and then I'll give like a little place where you guys can go and when they talk about the superior mirage, which is what they say that this is. Uh well, which is what the scientists say it is. Everyone else says it's the ghost ship Bannockburn, which, like I said, she's never been found. But there still are a whole lot of shipwrecks. To be fair, there are a lot of shipwrecks that have not been found. Um, they find more every summer. They find a few more. Um, they just found two this summer, so it's pretty cool. And one was right offshore of Wisconsin, which I don't understand Wisconsin. I mean, really, like they walked out. You can like walk out to the wreckage. So, um, we have one that's similar up by Ludington. Like only when I'm trying to think when it's. I think when because like with our lakeshore, right? Like sometimes there'll be a lot of beach, sometimes there's, like, no beach. But this shipwreck, you can only see, like, when the water like, when it's way out. So when the lake levels are low and there's a lot of beach there, you can actually see, like you could still see the hull of the ship. And this thing sank, like, in, like, 1880s or something, and it was a wood ship, a big like one of these, probably something like similar to the Bannockburn, or actually I think it was a schooner, and that'll be like the Christmas tree ship that I'm gonna tell you the ghost story about too in a minute. um, I think the hull of a schooner, and just to think that that thing has been there since like 1880 something, right? And um, when the water levels get high, we can't see it anymore, and it just goes back under the waves. So, and I think they didn't even know which wreck that was up until just like maybe a few years ago. I think they were finally able to get like some kind of light keepers notes or something, which is really cool because I like lighthouses too. But um, so a couple other so technically, in order to be called a ghost ship, a true ghost ship is one that is sighted sailing long after she has gone down. So she has to have sank to the bottom of the lake or ocean, whichever it is. And people are typically it'll be sailors that report seeing these ships. I wanted firsthand accounts of these ships, and I only got one really cool, I guess it would be I don't know if it's like I guess it's an omen more of an omen story. It was a sailor, not a sailor, what they would call the shoremen, and these were the precursor to the Coast Guard. So these were the sort of like the light keepers. Uh, um, they worked along it those lines. Here, let me pop them up here. So that's the Bannockburn. We're gonna say bye to her. Hopefully, um, they find her because that would be really cool. Um, this is the next one we're gonna talk about, and this is uh, an I'm gonna call it a ghost story. He had a dream about the night before. Okay, it's the first hand account. Oh, sorry, it's not a shoreman. It's called a surfman. So this is Captain Trudell. His first name is Benjamin. He was what they called the surfmen. So they didn't have like lighthouse duties, but they were responsible for walking up and down the shoreline. Some of them usually had to walk like round trips of 10 miles. So they'd have to walk 5 miles down the shore one way and then turn around and walk 5 miles back. And what they'd be looking for as they walked would be ships in distress, because this would be like perhaps like along a little stretch of coast that didn't have a lighthouse yet, um, or just didn't have a lighthouse, but they were little life-saving stations that they had set up along the coastline. So there wasn't a lighthouse house there, but they had these little life-saving stations just in case, because not all the ships are gonna go down right by a lighthouse, right? You've got all this coastline, and like I said, this is the precursor to, the Coast Guard, or at least that's what they called them. I thought the Coast Guard had been around a lot longer than that, but maybe not. I don't know my Coast Guard history, so sorry. Which I probably should, since I do live in Michigan. And, um, so eventually he became Captain Trudell, but at this time he was just just surfman Trudell. So he was just one of the guys, right? And he worked at the Deer Park Life Saving Station, and Deer Park is up on um the southwestern shore of I put Wisconsin, right? Where's that? No, it's Michigan. I'm sorry. Uh, it's on the southwestern shore of Lake Superior. So again, in that general area. Um, Tip, do you want a refund? I'm sorry. Um, yes, I like. You can lurk from Bedfordshire, Mia. Um, I will tell you a story to help you go to sleep if you'd like. I got this tickle in my throat. It won't go away. Um, so Deer Park is, well, now it's a ghost town. There's nothing there anymore. Um, but at this time, it would have probably, I think it was like one of those little iron ore communities that were all up along the Upper Peninsula at that time. So the Upper Peninsula, yeah. I'm not going to do the hand thing, but so this is along the northern coastline of the Upper Peninsula, and you see these guys out on their boat. These are surfmen, right? So they're all stationed at this life-saving station, and it's their job. So if a ship goes down out in the water, they're getting in their boat, and then they're gonna go out and try to save as many, lives as possible. They're also responsible things that wash up on the shore, so bodies wash up. They're responsible for, taking care of that as well. Oh, hello, girl Ryan. Just in time for a ghost story. And so Trudell where is his here it is. I got ahead of my I did do one thing I did write it down here. So, Trudell was working at the Deer Park light saving station or not yeah, life saving station, and I'm not sure which one of these is supposed to be, Captain Benjamin Trudell. Maybe he's the guy in the black jacket there, I'm not sure. But this is a photo of the light saving station where he was stationed at. So you can see there's not a lighthouse. It's just a really cool looking house. But this is where they would have all the men would have bunked up there together, right? They would have ate their meals together, that sort of thing. Probably maybe like dormitory style. And this is it didn't say who these men were. I wish I knew if one of these were Captain Trudell, but it didn't tell me if there one of them was. But this would be some of the men that were working there at Deer Park. And here's another photo of that sure the heck looks like a cannon. I don't think I noticed that before. Wow, they have a cannon at I wonder hopefully they're not making ships sink. Um Oh, maybe it's like, a signal. It's probably like a signal cannon because I don't know. I don't know my cannon sizes, if that's a big one or just a small one. Um, but anyway, so Captain Trudell, his firsthand account is written here somewhere. Let me pull it up. Okay, there we go. He writes during my second year in the life saving service in 1892, I was stationed at Deer Park. I was called to go on watch at 12 o'clock midnight. So when I went to bed and slept from 8 till 12, and the dream happened at the time a sinking was going on. I dreamed I met a man on the beach coming towards me. He appeared to be an acquaintance. An acquaintance. Yet I was doubtful as he got nearer. He was very nicely, finely dressed. As I approached him, he held out his hand to shake hands, but his hand was cold and clammy, and I couldn't hold the grasp. Then he turned and walked towards the water and dissolved into the surf. I was awakened standing in the middle of the dormitory, wet with perspiration. The relief watch was holding a lighted lantern up to my face, asking, "What is the matter?" That morning at breakfast table, 7 of us were messing together, and I recited the dream to them. They laughed at me, but I said, "Watch out." As the day wore on and nothing happened, they all began to make fun of me, even the captain. It was blowing a 3-day gale with high seas from the northwest. About 2 o'clock that afternoon, a man stumbled into the station stating he had been on a wreck and had been washed ashore, the only survivor. Not knowing the direction of any town, he followed along the beach until he arrived at Deer Park Life Saving Station. I was called to take the beach patrol west, and I was the first one ashore. There was the body of a man laying on his face, stretched out. He was finely dressed and appeared to be an aristocrat. As we rolled him over, his hand flipped over and struck mine, and I saw he was the man from my dream. The resemblance was very noticeable. He had a mustache, but no chin whiskers. His clothes were not wet in the dream, though. He was Peter G. Mensch, millionaire owner of the Western Reserve, the first steel ship to go down in the lakes. And that was his first. So I don't know if that's a ghost story. Well, I guess Is it a yeah, because the sinking was going down, it was happening the Western Reserve. So a little backstory on her, and pull her up here. Pull her up. Let me flip the page to her. She was a steel ship. I think she should be the next. That's not. Why didn't I get a picture of her? Oh, derp. Oh, I can't believe Angie you call that a visitation. I'm kind of torn on it. Where I swear I downloaded a photo of the ship too. Um, because she was one of two steel ships that were sailing on the Great Lakes at the time, and I know I wrote it down. Oh goodness. Um, because her sister ship is also a ghost ship, which is the WH Gilcher. They needed they I don't know why they named these. They should have gave these if a ship is a woman, if right, like if she's a female, give her a pretty name at least. Given her, I mean, they're all well, except for the Bannockburn. That's a really freaking cool name. I love it. She can keep that name, but otherwise, like I don't know, the Western Reserve. That's not too bad of an. Oh, there it is. That it? No. Well, she was a steel ship. I swore I wrote down where she like her stats, but I only see that I wrote down the other. So she was one of two steel ships sailing on the Great Lakes at this time, and her sister ship. Now that I can't freaking find that either. Oh my gosh. Apologies, guys. The sister ship, the WH Gilcher, was built in 1891, so they were probably built about the same time. And she this was an experimental steel hull that these two ships had at the time, and I don't think they use this type of steel again. Oh, hello, Megan. Oh, Megan, you should I signed that paperwork for you for your retainer. So you should get a check in the mail any day now. Cuz I just need a lawyer just cuz I'm probably going to say something I'm going to get in trouble for here at some point. But back to the ghost ship. So the sister ship to the Western Reserve is the WH Gilcher. She was on her way from Cleveland to oh crap. Well, she was going through the Straits of Mackinac. So that would have been she made her way from Cleveland, Lake Erie, up through Lake Huron, and then she would have been going through the Straits of Mackinac, which connects Lake Michigan to Lake Huron. If you've ever heard of the Mackinac Bridge, Mackinac Island is in the Straits of Mackinac. Mackinac Bridge goes across the straits. If so, it's this big ass bridge that stretches between the North Peninsula of Michigan and the Southern Peninsula of Michigan. It's big ass bridge, guys. It's really scary to go across, but do it because it's really cool. Um, I'll show you photos, and you'll really be terrified. But you should go drive across it. But this is where she was supposed to be heading through, and this well, actually, this was the last place she was spotted was coming through the Straits of Mackinac. She sailed into a cloud bank and was never seen again. None of the men on board her were ever seen again either. So both ships, the Western Reserve and the Gilcher both went down within, it says, just a year, 1 year of each other. Ooh, so I guess that wasn't a failed experiment, um, for that steel hull, so but the Gilcher the Western Reserve has been found. That is one that they frequently dive down on. So she is, I guess the steel hull is from the videos that I've seen of them diving down there, her steel hull is still intact down there. I don't know if they said that that was, the reason she went down, it was a storm that took the Western Reserve down, but, I'm not they don't know what happened to the Gilcher because she just simply vanished into the fog, just never seen again, and they didn't make any mention, like, that there had been storms or anything, so I think she would probably be the 2nd ship that I would call the 2nd actual ghost ship. This one, Mia, is the WH Gilcher. She was, a steel hull freighter, and this was a new type of steel that they were working with, and, um, it didn't work out so well because it was these 2 ships, both of them sank, but the sister ship, the Western Reserve, she is in Lake, uh where did they say? She's in Lake Michigan, I think. Nope, sorry, she's in Lake Superior, and she does get dived down on a lot, and I mean, she is in Lake Superior, super cold, so she looks really good. I should've got the video for that too because, that's also where I downloaded the Edmund Fitzgerald video from. That same site has one for the Western Reserve. It's really cool. I will go and link it though and put it in the Discord if you guys wanna check that one out too. It looks I mean, it's beautiful, underwater there. Uh-oh. Can you guys see me okay? Uh-oh. Getting nervous. My, StreamYard just did something. Oh, it says I'm still going, so I'm gonna keep talking unless I see something from chat that says, um, "Can't see me," but my screen just did something really weird. So, the last time it did that, it really frickin' it StreamYard's been weird, I think, with everybody lately, so, um, well, let me wrap up the Gilcher. So the Gilcher has never been found, Mia. The Western Reserve has been found. They dive on her pretty frequently. There's video. I'll post that in the Discord or a link to it so you guys can see it. It's really cool. But the Gilcher is actual ghost ship. She is spotted most often around Mackinac Island, and it is said that she'll sail from one cloud bank or fog bank, right, into another, and if there is a break in the clouds and sunshine happens to break through the clouds, you will hear her fog whistle blow. That's that's what it says. So, I'm not sure, how they know it's her fog whistle, but I guess if it's been cited often enough where they believe it's her. She 1891, she would have had sails. So, yeah, this is probably one of those classic ghost ships where you would see, the sails and like Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that. But so still haven't found her. I know she's on the list that they're looking for her in the Straits. I can if you guys are really interested in, like, the shipwrecks and of all of that, I will link um, to the website where you guys can look to see which ones they're actively looking for, ones that they've found, ones that I mean, it's a big list. but I mean, and you'll go down that rabbit hole, you'll be down there for a little while, I warn you, but it's really cool to see, especially when they, like, link video. I like to watch, like, the underwater stuff, so if they've got video, they'll link it. It's pretty interesting. Which is where I think you can see the reserve. I think they only found her, um, seems like pretty recently, but it's her sister's ship that is the actual ghost ship. But the reserve had the ghost premonition, or did the ghost of the owner of the ship visit him in his dream to like, hey, I don't know. Um, I'd like to think I guess it could be a premonition unless the ship was actually sinking at the time. He said the ship would have been sinking at the time he had that dream. Um, so maybe it was the ghost of the owner of the ship would have right, like, that would be the guy who felt responsible if the ship went down. So maybe he was trying to get help somehow, maybe. Maybe his spirit reached out to the one guy he could, mm, get contact because he was sleeping. I don't know. You guys tell me what you think. Or it could be a premonition too. So, I either one of I probably lean more towards premonition, but I like to think that'd be a good ghost story though, right? If he, like a ghost movie. Uh, the guy going down with the I like ooh, never mind, I'm not gonna say anything else about it because 'cause I'm gonna write that story. It's gonna be huge. Let's see. Alright, the last one, and I wanna get this right because this is the coolest story. Anyone from Chicago might know this story already. It's about the Christmas tree ship that went down in Lake Michigan, and her name is again, they need beautiful lady names for these big, beautiful ships. Her name is the Rouse Simmons, or else they call her the Christmas tree ship, and I'll show you why. Um, well, I'll show you, and I'll tell you why. Um, this is her. She was built, let's see, I think this says this photo was taken in 1909. Doesn't say, exactly when she was built, but this was 1909, so at least she was around since then. Um, where is actually, I think I did no, built 1868. I knew I wrote it down. She was 153 feet long, and she weighed about 205 tons. Her name, Rouse Simon, Rouse Simmons was the name of the owner of the Simmons mattress company. I don't know Simmons mattress, or do I? Maybe I should know that. I don't know who that is, but according to to Wikipedia, that was a big deal. So, but I don't know who the mattress company is. But that's who she was named after, which seems to be pretty common with the ships. It's usually like an owner or a board member. That's why they have these weird man names, right? Um, Now she was owned, or her captain. Okay, come here. Hang on. Her captain, and I'm going to say his last name very slowly because I don't want to get it wrong. Captain Herman Schun Schuneman. Got it. Captain Herman Schuneman. He was from Chicago. He and his wife, they had a Christmas tree business, and they would go up to Wisconsin. They would fill this. their schooner, the Rouse Simmons, with Christmas trees, and they would bring it back to Chicago. And it wasn't just Christmas trees. I read too that there would be, what they called, like, their, evergreen decorations, so, deck the halls, right? Those sort of things were also on board, but mostly it was the Christmas trees. This was starting to become a very popular thing in Chicago where people would the ships would come in with the Christmas trees on them, and everybody would go down to the docks and they would pick out their Christmas tree and then they would haul it home. And this was beginning to be a very popular Chicago tradition at the time. So early 1900s. And so the captain of the ship, um, he would go up, get a load of Christmas trees, come back. His wife and his daughters, I think they were pretty young though at the time he disappeared, but later on they stayed working with um, selling the Christmas trees. They kept the tradition going for quite a few more years. And, yeah, like Tiff says, swags, like, for reefs. That's what I was trying to think of, like, reefs. Like, they actually had women that worked down at the docks. They would come on board and take, like, the material they needed, and they would make the reefs, and people would take off with those as well. 'Cause, they wouldn't do, like, do it yourself. They want 'em ready-made, so there was a photo of, the ladies all lined up, and they were the wreath makers. It was very cool. Uh, I have lived here for forever, and I thought I knew a lot of Chicago history. This was something I didn't know, so it was pretty cool. Here's another photo of her, the Rouse Simmons. And she is what I consider, like this is when I think of, like, a ship out on the Great Lakes, like, I'm thinking something like a schooner, right? Like, you see the ship's wheel, the mast, the sails, like, this is kinda what I always have in my head when I'm thinking of, like, these ghost ships. Not so much like the big freighters, but more like these little schooners, the ones that actually had sails. And this is the captain. I forgot who the other 2 gentlemen were. Seems like they worked on the ship too. But this is them, putting Christmas trees. Looks like they were I'm not sure where they were in this photo. I don't think they were Chicago. I think they said the photo said they were loading up, so this was probably Wisconsin, where they're loading up and they're putting these Christmas trees in the cargo hold. And here's a enhanced image of Captain Herman. Oh my goodness. Everybody just needs easier names for me to pronounce. Schunen Schunen. And pretty handsome guy. Look at that mustache, though. My great-great-grandpa had one about the same era too. Probably would yeah, it would have been 1909, 1912. Uh, would have had that same mustache, and it's pretty I mean, the one in the newspaper article, that's just beautiful, but that's his wife, Barbara, and then he had, 2 young girls. So this is about when the ship went down. So they call it the Christmas ship because it brought Christmas trees and greenery from Wisconsin to Chicago. And the captain and his crew, there were 18 crew and the captain, so 19 men on board altogether. And she set sail. She was in Two Rivers, Wisconsin, filling up with Christmas trees, and she was packed, just completely filled up. Oh, I'm sorry, 17 men and the captain, so there were 18 men that were on board, and they were filling up. They were gonna leave Two Rivers and sail south to Chicago on Lake Michigan. And their last day, the day that the ship sank, the last day she was seen anyway, out on the waves, was November 23rd, 1912. But hang on, part of her lore that has continued since her sinking, there was one crew member who was with the ship and as they were loading up in Wisconsin, and he witnessed rats making a mass exit from what he called, and I was gonna look this up. Oops, not that yet. Go back. Okay. I'll leave it there for just one more second. um, it's called a Hauser pipe, and I'm not sure what part of the ship that is. Um, oh, thank you, Tiff. Simmons makes the beauty. Okay. All right, now I know where. Okay. See, I just needed somebody to refresh me on it. I think I was just looking at the name for so long that I just blanked out on it. um anyway, so bad omen. All these rats just were making a mass exit out this thing called a Hauser pipe. I not sure if it's like sewage pipe or whatever, but it's these rats were coming through this pipe and jumping out into the water, like getting the hell out of Dodge, right? And I don't know if you guys have ever heard of the old saying, when the rats deserting a sinking ship, if the rats are getting off, you should probably get off the ship too. Well, this particular crew member on the Simmons decided, no, I'm not going with you guys. I'm gonna stay behind. So he didn't go on the voyage south. He stayed. And considering that sailors are a pretty superstitious lot, I don't know if I was trying to find out if maybe did this crew member tell anybody else, like, what did you see? Like, did he tell them what he saw? Like, if he would have told them maybe like, hey guys, a bunch of rats just came running out the pipe and like jumped in the water. What do you think? Uh, if he was leaving, I'm wondering if they were, what is it, clips? There we go. The anchor chain. Okay, it's the pipe that the chain for the anchor passes through. Thank you. I was gonna look it up and then I forgot, but thank you, clips. And where was I? Oh, the getting off the the ship with the rats. So I don't know if this guy was a dirty rat himself and was just like he saw the rats getting off the ship, but he decided to follow them, maybe not tell everybody else. Just like I said, they're a superstitious lot. I would think if somebody said, "Hey, we just saw this," I'm like, I wonder if maybe they would have like waited for the rats to come back. I don't know. It's a documented, at least that's what the guy who got off the ship there at Wisconsin said, that it was the rats that made him get off the ship. So if he was being truthful, which I'm gonna try to believe him since he is a sailor, and I did say that about sailors. But yeah, so that was the bad omen for the ship. And the first Oh, here's a interesting thing. She had 5,500 fresh cut Christmas trees piled deep in her hold. That's a lot. That's like a lot of that schooner does not look as big as what I think it to hold that many Christmas trees. Let me go back here. I mean, she looks big, but I mean, really? 5,000 Christmas trees in that thing. I don't know, hawser pipe, so rats running up the chain from the hold and jumping ship, yeah. Well, it just said they were coming out the pipe and, like, just jumping in the water, like, a mass amount of them was this crewman's story. So but I don't know, you guys remember what was it wasn't it a scene in Titanic where the rats are right? And what's his name? Um the stereotype, typical the token Italian guy, right, that was running, and he's like, "I'm following the rats," or whatever, because 'cause they'll know how to get the know how to get off the ship. So something scared those rats to get the hell out of there, but yeah, um, which shocks me. I'm wondering if he was a dirty rat himself and he just didn't tell he's just like, "Nah, I'm getting out of here." See, yeah, it just doesn't look that big to hold that. That's a lotta I don't know, those trees look pretty tall in that photo. Um, yeah, I mean, unless yeah, no well, there's a little tree over here to the right behind, other big mustache guy. Why does this guy over here look the guy on the left looks like, he looks like Carson from Downton Abbey, um, with some really big ears, but yeah. They had to be little trees, right? Like the one over here to the right of, Brooks and Dunn guy, to his right, that's probably about the size, so but gosh, yeah, they probably were smaller. I mean, this is 1909, well, between 1909 I think 1909 was when they started the business, um and that's when this photo was taken, and she sank 1912. So, yeah, that they probably had smaller tree well, at least the poorer people probably had small I'm sure the rich people probably really did have, some ginormous Christmas trees, but these were probably the ones that were more affordable for the masses, not just the rich. Um, plus they probably had their own trees and property they could go cut their own, trees down from, right? Hello oh, Rubicon. Ruby's back. Yeah, I love these old photos, just like I would put one like this on my wall. Like, I have a bunch that I'm gonna frame and, um, put as art on the wall, and this would be if I had this in my family photo collection, it would be on the wall. Like I said, um he looks like my great-great-grandpa, like, mustache and he's got the same eye well, he is German, and I think my great-great-grandpa was supposed to be German, but could be why they look similar, but this is, okay, so here we go. So the last time I have the story hang on, I have to okay, I think this was it. So for she was actually stuck out on or near the Kewaunee Life Saving Station, which is also Wisconsin, and she was out there for about 3 days because there was a big storm that had come through, right? And she was out there, she had kinda got pushed up on, too close to shore, so she got stuck. One let me look here, um, she was as of, on the 23rd, which was a Saturday, they said by Saturday, she was spotted flying a distress flag. Her sails were tattered and her hull was low in the water. So that was probably within, hours of her actually sinking when, they s let's see. Yeah, she vanished from, sight because of the snow squall. got more intense. So she completely vanished, and when it ended, there was no sight of the Simmons any longer. Now, when they did eventually, they found a corked stopped bottle. So they found a message in a bottle that had come from the captain. And this was uh, from Captain Schuneman, and it was Friday night. So this was the night before the sinking, and he wrote a brief note, put it in the bottle, put a cork in it, and he threw it out into the storm. And it did wash up on shore within just like a week or so, or somebody found it on shore within a week or so of the ship's disappearance. And inside, they found the captain's what they said were his last words. So Friday, he says, "Friday, everybody, goodbye. I guess we are all through. Sea washed over our deck. During the night, the small boat washed overboard, leaking bad. Ingvald and Steve fell overboard Thursday. God help us." And those were the last words from the captain. Eventually, the ship was discovered in 1971. And she, if I remember correctly, they decided to go look in this location to find her because they missed a report from a lighthouse keeper who remembered seeing her floundering in the water, the ship, which would have been just before she disappeared. He had made a report that had never been, they had never discovered it until somebody was, I guess, going through some old lighthouse records and found the mention of the Simmons and decided that, I think we're going to go look here now. And then they went and looked, and there she was. And she really wasn't too terribly far offshore, which is just astounding that, again, I mean, they couldn't, well, I guess they lost their lifeboat, so there probably was no way to get off. After that, there would have been no way to get off the ship. But um, at different time before they did discover her, fishermen out in the area where she sank would catch stray Christmas trees in their nets, uh, which uh, they did attribute to the fact that the ship should be in this area. They did, I mean, they did acknowledge the fact that, yeah, this is probably where the Simmons went down somewhere nearby, and these trees are probably um, from that ship. And then at one point, they found the captain's wallet. A fisherman had pulled up his net, and the captain's leather wallet from 1912 was still, since it was a leather wallet, it had protected everything inside. Well, he had put a note inside of it, and oh my gosh, am I not gonna be able to find it now? You gotta be kidding me, girl. Ah, hang on. I know I wrote it down. I'm gonna cry if I can't find it. Oh no, I'm gonna cry because I know I wrote it down and now I can't find it. Um, no. Oh, I can't. Um, I can give you the gist of it. So the note inside was just pretty much that It was the actual last communication, which he would have written, probably within just a few hours of the ship, going down. He more than likely, his wallet he probably wrote the note, put the wallet in his pocket or on his person somehow, right? So this wallet, it came to the surface in a net, so it came loose from his remains, essentially, right? And it was indeed the very last note, that he wrote, and it conveyed that they knew they were going down. They said goodbye again, and there was nothing that could be done. So so um, they knew what was happening, they knew what their fate was going to be. They'd been battling for 3 days, and, um, yeah, the ship went down. And they did the wife and the 2 daughters. So the eldest daughter is the one there with the wreath around her face, and it kinda looks like Barbara there is missing a front tooth, but, hey, we're not gonna judge her. She continued the Christmas tree business after, uh after the disappearance of the ship. They continued with the Christmas tree business, um, and instead of I've read until, they didn't use ships anymore, that they decided that they were gonna use rail cars because the railroad was just getting, set up where they could bring them in to Chicago. They didn't need the ships anymore. Um, and probably because she lost her husband out on a ship, she probably felt a little more safe using, the railroad to transport the Christmas trees. But that's what they did after she lost her husband and they lost the ship, in Lake Michigan. She kept going, and they did so until she passed away. I think it was 1933, and she's buried. This is a photo of her headstone, and you'll see they do have her husband next to her, but, this is what they call a cenotaph. So Captain Herman isn't actually buried here. His final resting place is Lake Michigan off the coast of Wisconsin, and, but Barbara is here, and if you look on the headstone, it's so sweet. There's a little Christmas tree between their 2 names, and I just think that's so sweet. Um, I I think it's so sweet. But I'm shocked that she didn't do like Rose or something in Titanic, but, um, at like, maybe be buried, closer to where your husband disappeared, but still, I mean, he's on the headstone. I think that's pretty sweet, but, um, yeah, so Herman's not here. He's Lake Michigan, but Barbara is there. And then this is a underwater photo of the Simmons, and here's one of the Christmas trees. And if you look at it, I'm not sure when this photo was. It was, like I said, she was found in 1971. So, this is her, uh, with the Christmas tree. Like, I guess they must float up and out every so often, right? But just to think that, um, 1912, right? That look at that Christmas tree looks like they just right, cut it. Yeah, it's real, Tiff. It's not AI or anything. It's real. Um, like I said, fishermen would find, Christmas trees in their nets, like, when they would bring up their nets, right? And they'd have a Christmas tree in it. So, this is yeah, and it's just such an iconic picture, like, I think a lot of people would I guess, in the if you're interested in ship you see this, you know what ship it is. Um, and like I said, they do call it the Christmas tree ship, not because of this. Well, maybe, I don't know. I thought it was called the Christmas tree ship because she was, transporting Christmas trees to Chicago, so I thought that's why, uh, it was called that, but maybe it was because there's a when they I don't know. I don't think that this photo is too terribly old. I don't know in '71 if they had the technology to get, an underwater image like this. This maybe the '90s? I think in the '90s. I think that's when the photos they had of um, uh, the Fitzgerald were the ones that they showed, of them taking the bell up. That was '94, and those were pretty good, and this looks kinda similar, so maybe this was from the '90s, but still, I mean, that tree looks like it was just cut down. So, yeah, it's pretty cool. And here's another so I think this looks more recent. The tree isn't there anymore. It has floated away. Um, I looked really close. I didn't see like I'm like looking up like if I can see into the hall there, but I don't think there's any I can't see any Christmas trees that are still in there. But maybe they are. But I guess probably as the deck wore away, like as it dissolved, probably that's when the Christmas trees, floated up, right? But as far as I know, they never recovered, any remains. So again, here's another, right, like the graveyard. The Great Lakes is just one huge graveyard, which, yeah, they call it the graveyard of ships, but it really is a human graveyard as well. So it's, this is the Rouse Simmons, and it's the Christmas tree, um, which yeah, that is the coolest I think that's one of the coolest photos, like, I've seen that. I'm thinking this photo isn't too terribly old, um, because it looks really good. I mean, it looks just as good as the next one, um, except there's just no tree in this one. I I mean, hopefully they didn't drag a tree down there to, like, be buttholes or something, but excuse me, but, um, I know there's a tree at the, what did I say? The Kiwani life-saving station. They actually had one of the trees wash up on shore at some point, and even though the tree has none of the green like, all the needles are gone off of the pine tree, they still have it behind a in a glass case, and they keep it decorated for Christmas year round. So there's no needles. It looks kinda like a Charlie Brown Christmas tree, so it's just really the limbs, right, like the branches, the limbs, and they keep it decorated year round for Christmas, I guess, and that's at the Kiwani Life Saving Station. So I want to do the circle tour, which is what they call, it's a tour that you go from the Lower Peninsula of Michigan, you go up across the bridge, um, you go across the lower part of the Upper Peninsula, and then you go down the coast to Wisconsin, and then Illinois, and then you come back up through Michigan. So one big circle right around Lake Michigan, essentially, and you visit all the lighthouses that are on the way, and they call that the circle tour. Kiwani Life Saving Station is on that route, so, um, at some point, I wanna do that, like, I've done bits of it, I've never done it all at once. So, that's on my list to do sometime sometime with a lot of other things I've got on my list to do, but, yeah, um, I would love to get a photo. I wanna get a photo of that Christmas tree because I think it is so cool. I don't think it's this Christmas tree here. They said it was one that had washed up on shore. I don't know how long after, the ship sank that it did, but I don't know. It's a cool story. So this ship, what gives her She's got the coolest story. Um, Her captain breaks my heart with his message in a bottle and his message left in his wallet. Like, that tears me up. Um, and, you gotta be made of some pretty strong stuff, I think, to have been a ship's captain back in those days. I mean, wow. Um, but I lost my train of thought talking about the captain too much. Um, but the ghost ship, her I her, legend as a ghost ship comes from she is frequently seen, and since she is pretty distinct, she's a distinct schooner. I'll go back to what, one of her he had nice eyes. Um, so she's pretty distinct looking, with her sails, and I mean, if you see her, I think you would probably be um, if you knew what you were looking at, I guess you would know, but she, is often seen on Lake Michigan, and she is said to be covered completely in ice as she sails through fog and is often spotted, uh, during ice storms and snow squalls, which is what she went down in. So um I'm kind of envisioning, when they say laden with ice, like, kind of encased. I don't know if you guys have ever lived through, or been through, like, an ice storm, like, when it's just ice and then you walk outside and everything is just coated, like, in the, like, crystal casing, right? Like, every limb, um, every little speck of everything has this beautiful coating of ice on it, right? And it's hits the sun and it's all shiny and glistening. That's kinda what I imagine when they say they see the Ross Simmons, and, yeah, that's her legend is that she's been found, but people say they still see her, so, um yeah, I was just gonna call her I think but the Christmas tree ship, I think that's still well, like a little Christmas decoration, right? Um, I wonder if they've made one of those of the ship yet, but okay, that's all I got. Um, I think that was everything, right? Yeah, I got to her ghost sightings, I got to her watery grave. Yeah, I think I did good. I think I stayed on track for the most part, right? And what time is it? Oh my gosh, it's almost bedtime. I gotta go see how much snow has, accumulated on my vehicles and see how early I have to get up and scrape off snow from my, ugh. Oh, it's that time, guys. I don't know how many of you guys live where there's snow. Tiff, I think you're one of the lucky ones. I don't think you have to get up and, ever have to worry about getting snow off of your, vehicle, but yeah, it sucks. I mean, I would it's 70. Whoo! You probably have to put on a sweater if it's 70, right? Clips, no snow there. Oh, I know. I think it's just kind of us up here by the lakes. It seems like it's, South Bend, Indiana, like, um if you kinda think of, like, where Lake Michigan kinda if you got Michigan here and it kinda dips down, right? Um, I always, like, kinda think of that as, like, the armpit area down there, right? Um, then you got South Bend that's, like, right down there, kind of on that little it's not on Lake Michigan at all. It's a little further inland, but, man, they got hammered. Like, it just, like, sat right over the top of them last night. It's like, yeah, they got it. What the heck, you guys? 75, 70. Tiff's over here running around half naked and overall shorts and tank tops and, like I mean, look at me. I mean, I did put this knit sweater on for because 'cause we're talking about, right, like, nautical-ish stuff, so, um even though I think this is, I think I got this at, the Woolen Mill. So I like it's a fisherman's sweater. It's just a sheep from it came from Ireland though. Th Yeah, um, but I just think like it's just a sweater of sheep, but I think they're all made of sheep, derp. Um, and yeah, New York, well, I don't know, does New York City they don't get lake no. I know parts of, like, Buffalo gets the lake effect snow because 'cause they've got, right, they've got Lake Ontario up there. I don't that's one thing I forgot. I was gonna come back to it when we were talking about ugh, how, how crazy like, how deep and crazy, right, like, the Great Lakes are. Because I actually saw some idiot on X today that, um, was saying how, in most places, the Great Lakes are only 4 foot deep. And I'm like, "Well, shit, that means I could walk to Chicago, right, from and be there probably quicker than it would be to drive from my house to there or even take the train." Um, which of course you can't. You could um, it's not like that in Lake Michigan. So I shared this photo with him, and I'm sharing it with you guys because, his experience was with Lake Erie, and his theory was that when the glaciers came through, um, they scraped out flat, right? Like Lake Erie, that's the one here in the up high in the middle. She is relatively flat, uh, unlike the other Great Lakes, which are much, much deeper. So, Lake Erie is the most shallow, so that's the lake that he had the experience with, and, but he said all of the Great Lakes were like that, and most of them were only about 4 foot deep, and, so 4 foot deep would come probably up, I don't know, up to my chest, so I don't know. I don't know if this guy was just trying to get a rise out of people or what, but I thought I would show you guys so you could see, like, where, Lake Superior is, like, the deepest. It's also known to be the coldest. I think it's, like, what, like, 2nd or 3rd, deepest freshwater lake in the world or, like, something like that. But then you have, we've got Lake Huron, they have, Lake Michigan, and technically, they say that, Lake Huron probably is Lake Michigan, like, it's probably one lake, um, but they just, it's Lake Huron, they do, uh, call it differently, but probably it is just one big lake, it's not 2 separate lakes, not like Superior definitely is, a separate lake of its own from, like, Lake Michigan, and Lake Erie's its own lake, and so is Ontario. So, but yeah, so you have Lake Erie, this is going into Lake Ontario, that's where, like, Niagara Falls is, but most of our most of your shipwrecks and such, right, they're all gonna be boop, boop, up here, Lake Superior, Lake Michigan, Lake Huron. Uh I should have probably looked up a couple, shipwrecks in Lake Erie. I'm sure there's some that have gone down. I'm sure Ontario had some t Oh, I think there was I'll look some up because I don't wanna leave out the New York people, like, the Erie and Ontario people. That would be unfair of me. I did find out I have a couple more Canadian viewers, according to my analytics, so welcome, Canada. Love you. Um, let's see, because we do share. Because yeah. Oh, gonna have to go back up to Lake Superior again. We went up and, what was it, 2 summers ago, and we went to there's pictographs, like, ancient, Native American carvings in, like, just out on Lake Superior, like, getting hit by waves. that have been there for, like, just, like, 1,000 years, and it's just so crazy that, like, they're not protected or covered or, like and there's the big lake, like, just beating the crap out of it. It's really cool, like, you have to kinda go out on a you have to hike out to it. It's, what is it? Lake Superior Provincial Park, so you're actually in Canada, to get to it, and you hike out, and it's not too far, it's, like, maybe I don't think it's more than a mile. I think maybe, like, a mile hike out, so it's not too terrible. It's a little, up and downy, but not bad. You get out, and you sorta have to take it at your own risk. If you go out there, you have to be really careful. My son didn't go out and my bestie didn't go out. I did. I left the keys just in case I did get washed out to into Lake Superior. At least they had the keys so they could leave. But but yeah, I you have to kinda there's like a little ledge to walk on that like slopes down into the lake and it goes like deep, like right away. They've got like a couple little ropes that you can sort of hang on to, but whew, I mean, you better have good balance if you're out there. So yeah, you gotta kinda hang out there and then if you try to take a photo like of the images, right? It's like, I'll pop them up here sometime, like, just for just something like, if we look at something horrific or really sad, I'll pop the photos up 'cause it's really neat. If you get a chance to go, um, and you're not terrified about getting washed out to sea, I do it. I did it. I'm a big chicken, so if I did it, everybody should be able to do it. I'm afraid of drowning, so that I went out there. It was a pretty big deal, but I think that is everything. I'm gonna start calling these, like, Scottish goodbyes because I just keep talking instead of just leaving, but, tomorrow night, I'm gonna check on to see if I'm gonna live stream, the ceremony. Uh, and if I can, I will pop on probably around 6 o'clock ish or so and see what, um so hopefully it'll work out because, I think it's gonna be really nice. I think it's gonna be, if you guys wanna cry, I'm probably gonna cry. I'll have tissues. I recommend bringing some, but, um, as soon as I figure out if I can go, uh as soon as I figure out I can do it, I will, I'll put out an alert, whatever, on, YouTube so you guys know that I will do that, and we'll just watch that. I won't have a lot prepared because I don't have anything else, ready to go yet. I think we're gonna talk about schools built on, um, old cemeteries next, if that's something you guys want to hear. Oh, why are we crying? Because it's the 50th uh anniversary of the sinking of the Edmund Fitzgerald. It's the uh big ceremony that they're doing up at Whitefish Point, which is the closest location to where the ship sank. So they're doing a big and family members are going to be there because there's still family that are alive. So it's going to be it's probably gonna be really I'm expecting to cry. I'm sure almost positive they're gonna ring the bell, but maybe they're not gonna ring that until, the ceremony with the family because they are having a private ceremony starting at 7 for the families, without the public. It says absolutely no public, so we'll see. I'm gonna do it if I can because I think it'll be really cool to kinda close out our ghost ships and stuff with that. Um, unless you guys want to hear more ghost ships, I'll look for more. I'll look on Ontario and we'll I mean, yeah, how could you not? It's gonna be I'm sorry, I get goosebumps. I was getting goosebumps reading the lyrics to to that song. So, uh, there's, like, a couple lines in there, right, that it's just like, woo, like I said, what was the one? I can't, oh, where does the love of God go? Like, that's I don't know, that gets me every time I hear it, but, I suggest if you guys have not listened to it yet, go listen because it's yeah, it's hard. It's not hard, but, whatever. Make your own opinion. Take your own Alright, I'm good. Night. It's time. It's been a long day, and it's, I'm hoping there's no school tomorrow. 'Cause I would really like to just sleep in tomorrow since I didn't get to sleep in today, but alright, I will catch you guys tomorrow. Hopefully 6 o'clock, we'll we'll live stream the ceremony, and I will see you guys then. Bye, have a good night. Thanks, guys.